Hi guys, Terry here from CB Wraps. I'm going to be wrapping this motorcycle rear fairing of the R6, Yamaha R6. Waiting on some green to arrive for the Porsche 911. Didn't have any stock, so I'm waiting for it to arrive, and while I'm doing that I may as well finish the customer's Yamaha R6 bike in Avery White. The customer brought me the bike with a vinyl on the panels, which was vivid material. It was very hard to use even on a car, never mind on a motorcycle, with all these complex curves and inlays and all that kind of thing. As you can see, it looks a mess at the moment. That's because I just started removing the white material that I had on there, so we'll take it all off and basically start again, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay, now I know there's not many videos on YouTube about wrapping motorcycles, so I'm going to start making a few more. I've already wrapped the rest of the bike, including the tank, which was not too difficult on the Yamaha R6 because the tank is quite small and it has a cap on the front, and the fairing hugs all the way up around the side, so it's not that difficult to do. It takes about 30 minutes, maybe that. It's not too bad. Some of the more complex ones with a big round tank and go down into the engine bay and everything can be quite a challenge for even an experienced wrapper, never mind a novice. Okay, so if you're planning on doing this as a beginner, then buy a good quality film. Buy Avery, 3M, like Oracle, or if you're brave, use a tech wrap or something like that. But definitely Avery is the way to go. This conforms really well, and it's much better for the beginner to work with. Less chance of taking it all off again and starting from scratch and wasting your money. I see a lot of people buy the cheap wrap and then they take it all off and then buy the expensive one. So basically you've just spent twice on a material you could have bought once, and then you're done. Okay, so I'm going to remove the rest of this. I'm going to use a heat gun to remove it. I'll show you what. So I'm just going to use the heat gun to warm up the film and then peel it off away from the edges. Pretty simple, nothing complicated about it. Just if you try and rip it off with no heat, you may pull the paint or lacquer off with the wrap as well. Okay, so it comes off much easier in bigger sections. So yeah, here we go. So I'm going to continue removing this, and then I'll be back with you showing you how I'm going to wrap it. Can't do it in one piece. I tried in one piece, and this is too complex around this. I'll show you, like, it's too complex to go over the top, around the front, come down. It's just too tight around this area, and basically you're overstretching, and it will fail, guaranteed to fail. It'll look good to begin with, and then you'll have a bubble over like a week or so, maybe even less. A bubble will appear, and then basically you wasted your time. You have to start it again anyway. You can't even pop it. You pop it and it'll just split. So yeah, it's going to be two pieces, so I'll be back with you when I've removed all this, and we'll put some knifeless tape on and show you how I divide it. Okay. Okay, so now that I've removed all the wrap from the panel, motorcycle panel, I'm going to put this knifeless tape exactly where I want to join. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with quite a long length as excess, so it gives me more opportunity to grab it and remove it. So I'm following the natural body lines of the fairing. So when you come to remove it, you're going to have a nice hidden separation between the two films, less obvious that it's been separated into two pieces. Okay, so there's one line already. Just get my knife. Oh, it's hot today in Vancouver. Oh my God! I have a fan blowing in the background, and it's like 30 degrees here, and my apartment has no AC, so it's a perfect environment for wrapping, but not good for humans. Okay, so there we have it. So we've laid the knifeless tape down inside the recess, as you can see. We've left a lot of room this end and a lot of room that end, excess knifeless tape. This is because if for some reason when I'm pulling this way it fails, I've always got this option at the other side. Otherwise, you could end up with the knifeless tape breaking halfway down under the wrap, and then you've got no way of getting out, so you're going to have to start again. So this way you have two chances of getting it right. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around now and just do the one on the opposite side. You want to lay the knifeless tape down naturally, don't pull it, stretch it, just pull it down so it lays on the surface and there's no tension. Okay, so you like my nice gold knife? I like it, special from China. Okay, so there's the knifeless tape put on the bike. This section, as you can see with the mold lines around here, is actually, you can't even see it because the seat will be on the top. So when we come round with this join here, you won't see any of it because the whole seat is covering it. So with these things, you've got to think logically about the way it's going to look when you finish wrapping it, and what you're going to see, what you're not going to see. Okay, so in this case, you're not even going to see around here, you can see where the seat sits. So even if you make a little bit of a mess here, obviously you want to try and make it as neat as possible, but if you make a little mess, bit of a mess, crinkles or whatever, it's not the end of the world, right? As long as it looks good from the exterior, alright? So now I'm going to place this on my makeshift table, and I'm going to cut the wrap, and I'm going to make it so I have one piece that goes over the top, but then I'm going to cut it before I take the backing paper off in a U shape, so I'm not fighting with it on the place where I don't need it. Okay, so I'll be back with it in a second with the material. Okay, so I've now cut the material, and I'm just going to lay one side on the bottom there, because the top is going to be a separate piece. So doesn't matter how neat it is, just as long as I have enough material. And separate the backing paper. And I'm going to lay it down on the long piece first, like so. And then I'm just going to lock it in position where I want it. And this is just going to follow into the line of the panel, just pushing it in with my finger. Sure I've got enough that goes right to the back. Okay, now I want the film to be, maybe like this is probably the best bet. I want the film to be relaxed when we push it into the areas, right? So I'll just put this around here a little bit. So basically I'm just going to pull it over the edge where I want it, lock it in so it's nice and neat. Lock it in, press down hard, because this film reacts to the pressure as well as the heat. So let's work our way down. Okay, now I'm going to go into the recess, so I want it nice and flat. I'm going to grease it. You can use a squeegee if you want. I'm going to use it after I've put it all down with my fingers for the pressure. Try and use as less heat as I can when I'm putting it on initially. It's nice to have a bit of a cold stretch rather than a really hot and burning stretch with the material. I've got a few creases, so I'm going to heat it out. Pretty simple, just a little kiss of heat and the creases are gone. So I'm going to use my squeegee now. Use the squeegee. Just push it into the recess. As always, you need to release the tension, so it's not going to be forced on itself into the recess. It needs to relax into the recess. So just feeding it in with the squeegee. It's very hard to show you, right? Isn't it? I'm right-handed, so it's a bit difficult. Okay. So just push it in to the recess, but having this floppy, it needs to be floppy, not under any tension. There we go. I'm only going up to the knifeless tape. I don't know if you can see, but you can see the knifeless tape is under the wrap. Now there's a straight edge. So I'm just working my way down there, getting it flat up to the knifeless tape. As again, just keep it relaxed. Use your finger as a nice curved surface. Feed it in and just make sure it's relaxed in that recess. No tension. If this is causing tension, you can see it, so just back it off and then use your finger again to go down the curve and the natural shape of the panel. Alright, now what we can do, just to give ourselves a little bit of relief here with the tension, is just cut it. And we know we need to go over this line, so we're just going to give a bit of relief. Higher up than the line, just a slip like that, okay? So we let less tension here. Now it just sits into the area with no tension. Follow it down. Move down. Gonna blast a bit of heat in this recess just to let it sit down a bit. Always checking I'm not putting it under tension, because if I am, it's just going to come back and bite me later. There we go, nice. Bit more heat again on the flat piece. feeding the material from here up to the edge. Okay, that's good so far. It's providing tension again here, so I'm going to cut it. Okay, make it relax. The material has a natural way it wants to lie, so if you can pull it and you can see where it causes a wrinkle or relieves a wrinkle, that's the way you need to pull it. So the way that relieves the wrinkle, you pull it that direction and lay it down. So basically you're letting the material relax into its natural position. Okay, so we have all the knifeless tape is now covered, and as you can see we've got a nice neat curve all the way around the moulding of the fairing. So now I'm going to concentrate on this piece. Don't be afraid if it gets all bunched up, it will come apart again, like so. Don't panic. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to just flatten this all down. This was a car you'd be using the squeegee all the time, but it's a lot easier with your hands to get it nice and flat. Bunched up. A lot of people don't even do motorcycles because they're quite fiddly, right? So there's a lot of time and effort to try and get it right. So there's a big recess here, so I wanted to use the squeegee just to push it into the position, pushing it down with little tension. Okay, so it's sat flat on that contour and then it's going out again. Little bubble, so to lift it up again. Wasn't relaxed, so now push it back in so it is relaxed. I'm using my thumbnail to guide it in. Okay, it's going nice. And we can flatten that out. There's no tension there at all in the backwards curves. No tension. If there was, then we're going to have problems later. We're actually getting near the end now. Okay, let's release the crease, remove the crease, and then back to sitting down again over the ledge. no real secret to this. The problem is when you start and you don't know how the material reacts, you try and basically lay it down in one go, and it just will not go that way. It needs to be fed the material. You have to feed it. Okay, so here we go. So it's all laid now inside here. I'm going to heat it so it stays where it is. Post heat it, as we call it. We'll blast it with heat, and then we're going to remove the knifeless tape so you get to see what the end result is. Okay. And then I will just finish this off. It's just a matter of laying it all flat over the edge and trimming it, and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to blast this with the heat. I use this Makita gun. I really like it. I know how it works, and you get used to a certain brand, I suppose, and I don't like using anybody else's, so I know, a bit weird, but hey. So I put it on 7 and I keep it a distance, but I'm going to, when I smell like a burning smell, I know it's post-heating. It's basically resetting the memory of the film. So it's a bit of experience as well. As soon as I start smelling it, I just keep it moving and I know it's doing its job. Okay. I can smell it now. If only we had smell-o-vision. Okay, so this is just resetting the memory of the film. So the elasticity is gone and the material will stay in the shape that you've formed. And keep it moving not to burn the material. That's it. Let it cool down. I'm just going to go over it a little bit just to make sure it's down on the knifeless tape. Don't want it coming up. Just gently. Okay. Okay, so I'm showing you the basic here, not finishing in it. As you can see, there's loads of mess here. I need to finish that, but I'm not going to bore you with that. It's just pulling it down and trimming it later. Okay, so I'm going to show you the knifeless tape bit now, just letting it cool down. You don't want to do it when it's hot. That's why I've got a fan, which is pretty handy. So, just letting it cool down. Okay, still feels hot. Should be good. Okay, with knifeless tape, you can just rip it off and it should work fine, but I find that sometimes if you pull, the material snags on the line and then you end up having a horrible start to the cut. So I tend to help it on its way with a knife on the excess material. I just give it a little helping start. So I look where the material starts, where the knifeless starts. Make sure I've not got the knifeless directly under the wrap, otherwise I'm just going to cut the knifeless and then I've wasted my time. So as you can see, I basically cut a little sort of key way for it to begin. Okay, so now we're going to release the knifeless tape. Here it is. Now we're just going to fold it back on itself, like so, and pinch it between your thumb and your finger, and then just pull. Okay, so the nylon cord is now free from the tape in the middle, and then you're going to pinch it again where it starts, and then pull fast, and then keep it low and down, all the way down to the bottom, and it should have cut all the way through the material. And now we can remove the top piece. Okay, that's the top piece removed. Now you can see the knifeless tape, the waste part of the material is left behind, so you need to make sure that it's all out from underneath your wrap, and sometimes it takes 2 passes to get it all right, but sometimes it's good. Now, as I can see, there is another piece still lying underneath. If you leave that in there, then it's not going to stick to the panel. Okay, so there we go, that's all removed. Basically follow it round with your finger afterwards. Make sure it's sitting back down again. And there we have it. We have a nice, neat, straight line all the way around. This is going to be the basis of where the next material on top meets that. And all I'm going to do now is obviously repeat it on the other side, and then I'm going to put knifeless tape literally just overlapping by 1 or 2 millimeters all the way around here, and when I wrap over the top and pull the knifeless again, then you have a nice neat seam there, and it's in the shadow as well, so you're not really going to see any of it. Okay, so we'll be back after I've finished the other side, and I'll show you what I'll do with the top. See you soon. Okay, so here we have the finished result of the one side. I said I'd be back with the other one done, but I just thought I'd make a quick show of what it looks like when it's finished wraps. Yeah, so this side all done. Now I'm just going to repeat the process on the other side, and then we can do the top piece to marry to that. Okay, so as you can see, it looks pretty good, right? How much effort you put into what it looks like on the inside is up to you. I like it to look fairly neat, but I'm not going to spend hours and hours trying to get it all nice under here, which you don't see anyway. Okay, so the key to this, to keep it staying where it is to make sure you clean the underneath of the material, like in here. Make sure you clean very well with the alcohol, so it's got a nice clean surface to bite to, and then just fold it over and it will attach nicely, no problem. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the other side. Okay, so as you can see, I've wrapped the other side now, so I've got 2 sides all finished, and now we just have to wrap the main body of the R6 tail fairing. That's it. So basically all I've done is put some knifeless tape on the underneath of the previously wrapped part of the panel. Okay, so I've overlapped it by a couple of millimeters, 1/8 of an inch if you're old school. So we've done that, and now I'm going to wrap over the top, and when I come down here, I'm just going to finish just after it. Heat it so it sits nice. Important, heat it first before you cut. Okay, otherwise it shrink back, and then you cut with a knifeless tape, and then all of a sudden, you ruined it. Okay, because it'll just shrink back. Okay, so now I'm going to put this down. I'm going to measure my material, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I'm back now with the large piece on the top, the finale. So Now I'm going to just work my way around, no particular order. I'm just going to get it nice and flat from the top down. So I'm just going to maybe flatten down. I've already formed like a bit of the main shape around the tail section and flattened it down around the aperture here. I can cut a hole here because this is just going to be an empty gap, and then I'm going to work my way around all this outside and bring it right round the sides. Don't be too daunted by this. It looks horrible because you've got so much material and you're like, what do I do with this? Don't panic, just take your time, flatten one area at a time, then move to the next, move to the next, move to the next. Before you know it, you've done, okay? So here we go. I've also done this while listening to some classical music. It kind of helps you relieve the stress. Already I'm at the 9/1 tape, so I'm feeding the material again because we're going around a really awkward curve, so we're going to need a bit of heat to relax the film a little bit. There we go. It's going in. Squeegee to help you. Now with this, I use some of the material and pulled it towards where I am contouring in. So I am giving it the material. With the curve, because it goes like this, and then in, and then like that, and then back again. So I'm trying to basically give it the material instead of forcing it into the place where it doesn't want to go. Maybe you find a better technique, I don't know, but this seems to work quite nice when I'm doing it this way. So it's the way I stick to doing it. So I'm pulling again. You can see the material is going kind of where I want it to. Easier to put it on its side. I find that works. As you can see what you're doing this way as well. Let me just move the camera a little bit. Bear with me. proves it's live. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna heat it here. Shrinks back as you can see. And we're gonna move it down, pull back and down at the same time. Feed into that recess with your finger. I'm not bothered about this piece because that's just going to be waste. Down. Yes, you have to have a lot of patience. This kind of thing annoys you, though. No, it's not the thing for you. And I found if it's not going your way, say like this is becoming too bunched up, you can release this side here. I'm going to cut it like that, said it about. Yeah. So I cut like this section here, and a bit of a kind of a circle. Okay. And if I need material over here, I can basically borrow the material, bring it over the edge, and then pull it like this. That's it. You see, and now I have a bit more material to feed in, and it's not so tight. Okay, so let's see if that works. Tape's come off. Make sure that goes back on, otherwise I've wasted my time. There we go. Took it out of the way. That's it. Okay, the end is in sight, but it's been a bit of a pain. Don't give up. Coming. Just keep grabbing a little piece, keep grabbing some from this top edge to feed the bottom. Eventually it'll just lay flat. Which is kind of doing now. We're very close. Continuing working my way down. It's tedious, I know. This is wrapping for you. Alright. There are way too many creases in the actual film, so I need to like pull it apart to separate the creases, reheat, shrink it back, and then it will smooth out again much better. So here we go. May seem like this is taking a long time, that's because it is. I'm going to relieve some tension down here. I'm going to, on the front where I'm feeding it down, I'm going to just cut here because I'm trying to force it with all this and it's too much for the material. So I'm going to relieve it now, that's good. Material wants to sit better, there's no tension. Just trying to get this a bit more how it should be. It's all about playing with the film and knowing what it will do and what it won't do, which only comes with practice. These big creases can be gradually worked back out. Trying to get it to sit down. There we go. There, go on. Good. Just talk amongst yourselves. I don't know why, but the finger always seems to be the best tool for the job. when it comes to feeding the material. Because you can put more pressure on there in the right place. Just laying it down flat for my knifeless tape. Okay. You get the message about what I'm trying to do with this little gutter here. Looks a mess at the moment, but I'm working my way down. So I will get there. Save boring you on the video. I'm going to carry on down here and then come back. Okay, so it took quite a while, but eventually I managed to get it all laid down. As you can see, there's a join, but not too noticeable depending on what angle you look at it. But that's the only way you're going to get it done, with a join. So it's not too bad, not too bad. Bit rough around the edges, but that's, you can't see that under the seat, so no big deal. Yeah, pretty good. Quite happy with it. The customer's going to go and pick it up any minute now, so let's see what it looks like on the bike. Like any of my videos, I don't just do motorcycles, do cars, kitchens, all kinds of things, just depends on what comes about. So please subscribe to the channel and you'll see some more of my work. It's only me, no team of people, so it's quite unique what I do, and I don't edit any of my videos, so what you see is what you get.